Hi, I'm John Solari, your host of The Method Actors Speaks. And today we have a very, very special guest. And I want to welcome you, and I want you to pronounce your name right so I don't mess it up.
Sharon Farrell.
That's great. And now, I don't usually script the show, it's usually, but you've done so much work, and you work with such great people.
Oh,
Steve
I have.
McQueen,
Luther Adler.
Ray Walston, who was my...
French O'Tone.
Oh, God.
I've worked with some really good people. I should have reread the beginning of my book because my brain, in the mornings I'm not too awake,
Right. We could also use the mic. We don't need a mic, I don't think.
Oh, well, I don't know.
Great.
Whatever you think. You want to check
Oh,
on
we
it
can
first
check,
or something?
No, we don't need to check.
Okay.
And what I was going to say is that, why did you get into this business?
Well, I'm from Sioux City, Iowa, and I remember seeing a movie with Joanne Woodward, and it was Three Faces of Eve, and I thought I could do that. And I was just a little kid then, and I was in Sioux City, Iowa, and I was studying ballet. And I was a very good ballet dancer when I was young, and I got involved with going to Chicago, studying with Edna McCrae there, and I really was into ballet, and I was really dedicated, and I had a wonderful teacher because my parents were really poor, and she just kind of got me on scholarships to study everywhere, and but as I grew up, I got a little top heavy, and I never had the long legs I needed. And I was in Denver, and I was studying with the American Ballet Theater Company. I got into a play, and the poet laureate of Colorado had seen me dance in a production of Oklahoma, and he hired me to play a can-can dancer in this play. It was a centennial kind of play because I guess maybe Denver was 100 years old or something. I don't know. Anyway, so I was in this play, and I was supposed to dance a little bit, and they kept cutting the dancing, and they kept giving me lines, and then it was with Hugh Marlowe and K.T. Stevens, and it was in Central City, Colorado, and I became an actress there because. I got paid more money, It was like, and it's like I just died because I had to go home and I had to tell my teacher that I wasn't going to be a ballerina anymore, and she said, "Good,
Really?
good, because ballet dancers, all dancers, dancers are just on the lowest rung of the totem pole. I don't know what's the lowest part of the totem pole.
Right.
That's where they are. If there is a rapper." A candy wrapper on the floor, they don't blame the singers, they don't blame the actors, they blame the dancers. And the dancers get paid the less, they have to work the hardest. Oh, it's just so hard.
It's funny, they should blame the dancers.
Dancing. They blame the dancers.
You know the word when they call you a broad?
Yeah.
You know what that comes from?
No, I don't.
Broadway dancers.
Oh my gosh. I like that. I'm a broad.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was back in the days of...
I always kind of like that word broad. And I like squeeze, too.
The broad.
I like, she's my main squeeze. I think that's good.
Yeah, that's a good-looking broad. I mean, I never understood why women were offended by that.
I didn't know. I'm usually not offended by anything like that.
But
I guess I used to when I was young. I was like persnickety, but as you get older, you mellow out a bit.
So what was it like coming to Hollywood then, when you got
Well,
this
I went to
first
New
thing
York
in-
first.
New
I went
York.
to New York, and I studied there, and I was trying to remember the people I studied with because they were from Actors Studio. It was Barbara, and she was married to this guy, and he I was gonna get in my computer and look at my book and get the names because I can't remember.
Barbara.
They were married, and he did a movie with a
That's
bunch of
Barbara
guys.
Baines.
No. I know Barbara Bain and Marty Landau. No. This one was this gal with dark hair. And anyway, I took lessons there, but that was after I did a movie in Cuba and I had come back. And
What was the movie?
Oh, it was called Kiss Her Goodbye with Elaine Stritch and Steve Hill. And Stritchy used to say, "You're never going to study at they'll never let you in at Actors Studio because it'd be like letting a tiger into the jungle." And she always thought I was, she used to call me Shirley Temple.
Really?
Oh, she just was something. She scared me, and I loved her to death, but she scared me to death too.
So do you use that method in your work and all
Oh,
that?
you know, I have had such a. I'm really lucky because I've done a lot of living and I've had a lot of experiences, and I've always kind of used my own method, and I never could afford to go to the actor's studio because it was always so expensive.
No, they don't charge.
They don't charge?
No.
Well, I just met a little Russian girl the other day, and I mean, there's no way she could ever get in unless they charged her.
No. Actor's studio. Well, these little things, but I mean, the actor's studio itself, you have to pass auditions, 2 auditions, and there is no charge. You don't pay nothing at actor's studio.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. But the classes and stuff, the people, there's so
when
many
you go
people.
to the other that, yes.
Oh, I see.
Like the institute and
I don't know. I just
the new
never.
school.
I don't know. I'm from Sioux City, Iowa, and I came from a very, very poor family. So if I kind of think something's going to be too much, I don't even go there, you know? And,
no, that's the one good thing. They take you on your talent, not your money. That's
well, that's nice because I this is the first time out of all these years of all the people that I've worked with that have been members of Actors Studio, and I never knew that.
Well, a lot of people. Well, it's good to know that you're never too late to try and become a member. You belong there. With all the work you've done, what was it like working with Steve McQueen, who was a member of the Actors Studio?
Well, I loved him. I just adored him, and he helped me through. And I gave birth to my son. I had an embolism and my heart stopped for 4.5 minutes. And when I came to, I didn't. It was right after I'd done the Reavers, and I really didn't know which way was up. And Steve really helped me. He really, really helped me. He and Joan Hackett, because they wanted to get me back into acting, and I wanted to be a nurse. And Steve had taken me to there was a gynecologist that was always operating, and he was a good friend of Steve's, and Steve probably sent all of his girls there, you know. Anyway, I went and I looked at it. I wanted to, you know. He says we're good. He says okay, and he drags me to Dr. Lazarus. He's operating on somebody, and I go in. The first blood I see, I just pass out.
Really?
So there's no way I could be a nurse. He says you're going to be an actress again, you know. And Joan Hackett came and sat on. He called Steven Spielberg, and he got me this show on. I was playing a robot, and it was like 2016 with Gene Barry, and I was playing this sexual, you know. I was sterilized, so I couldn't have children or anything. It was in the future and that kind of thing. And Joan Hackett sat in my dressing room, and she told me where to walk, where to talk. I mean, you know, she just helped. She just spoon fed me the role from the dressing room. And Steve said, when anybody says hello, you don't tell them, you know, you've been in the hospital and your heart stopped. You don't tell them things like that. You just say hi. And I said, well, what if I don't know who they are? He said, it doesn't matter. Just say, hi, honey, how have you been? And get them to talk. Get them to talk.
Get them to talk.
And he said, because they're going to think you had brain damage, which you probably had. You did. You have brain damage. You can't hit your marks. You're not going to be able to memorize your lines. You're not going to show up on time. So just do what I say. So Steve guided me through all of that. He taught me how to drive again. And I was living out in I was living on Broad Beach Road, so he wasn't too far away. And I had a long time relationship with him, and it was mostly because he was my hero. He kind of saved me from things that were happening on the set of the Reavers, and he saw my plight. He identified with me. We had the same mole. He said, we're both street fighters. We're not book smart, we're street smart. And he said, you got to depend on that. And I had just finished Marlowe with James Garner. And I was Bruce Lee, I was involved with Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee was married. And I was just beside myself because when I got into the Reavers, I was like feeling like a trampy whore, you know, because when I met him and it just clicked and we just drove off in the car and disappeared for the first week, I didn't know he was married. I didn't know anything about him really. I didn't know I knew. I don't remember really. I remember James Garner telling me, "Oh, he's my trainer, and I'm giving him a role in this movie." You know, I kind of remember that, but I didn't know he was also training Steve. I didn't know that.
Really?
And it was like, the day that, and I was like involved with Steve, and then Bruce shows up, and good Lord, I'll tell you something. I was a mixed up little gal. I swear. I really was. So probably still am.
In this business, that's probably a blessing.
Yeah, it's something. It's bipolar. It's definitely bipolar, and thank God for being bipolar. It's like when I got back here from the Fiji, because I retired, I went to the Fiji Islands. I built a big house there on an island, and with this business manager that I was telling you about earlier, that just like, he took care of all the money. When you have somebody taking care of all your money,
she doesn't recommend that.
I don't. Enough said. It's like all these people tell you, you gotta watch, you got to be in control of things. You got to know, you got to know what's going on in your life. You have to know. And I used to like to hide my head and just put, and part of me still wants to do that, but I don't. I've been making it into a game. Anything I don't like, I say this is fun, and I just. Well, as an actress, you can do that, so I do that. So.
The first thing I told my agents about when it comes to the money is that I don't call lawyers.
What does that mean?
Well, if you play with my money, you're going to have to deal with me.
Oh, you're going to beat them up and kill them and eat them, right? That's good. That's good.
Right off the bat, we get this straightened out.
That's
I don't
good.
call lawyers.
That's good. That's good, and they got it good. That's great. That's just great.
And what were some of your favorite roles in the beginning? And what was that like before you really were established?
I loved everything. I don't know. It's like it's like
you've done it all.
I love everything. Well, movies, TV, kind of, you have the same cameras and everything.
Right.
So it's all the same. I mean, the work is the same. I mean, if you're doing a television show or you're doing a movie or whatever, it doesn't feel any different.
That's a good point. Now, what is it? I mean, everyone believes there is a difference, like between stage, movies and television.
Yeah. Well, the stage, you have to project. You have to be heard. I mean, it's nice when of course, these days they've got mics everywhere, so nobody has to worry about that. So I guess in a way, and stage is very much like doing a soap opera because it's like 3 cameras and you do it once and it's over.
Right.
But with films, we used to do takes over and over and over again, and that's not really necessary. I think the bad directors are the ones that make you do things 85 times, but. And on the films I've worked on, I've seen actors. I don't know. I think everything is better today. The most exciting time that I'm having is right now. I'm doing a web series, and we do the whole show. A guy with a little camera, with a little, they rent the camera for the day,
right.
And they got the sound. There's a sound person, and they use the natural lighting and sometimes some reflectors. And that's it.
That's it.
And it's wonderful. I just love it.
And what about, I noticed you did a student film too. I
did it this weekend. It was really weird because there wasn't a script. It was like an outline. And I wasn't going to do it. And I said, well, I don't, the reason I'm doing this is because I have a lot of credits and I've done a lot of movies and a lot of TV and a lot of stuff. I need something on me now because I've been 10 years gone and I want people to see me what I look like now.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, you'd be perfect for this Western. Should I send them a movie I did with Steve McQueen, in 1970? And it's like, I can't do that.
Wow.
So I needed new reel. I needed new
Well, you're
reels.
going to have it now with this too.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But what was it? I just want to check out. Keep talking.
No problem.
Now, does that mean you ad-libbed?
Ad-lib? No. See the role that I did this weekend, I was playing a ghost. I was haunting my husband,
Uh-huh.
who had left me for Dad, and he didn't help me.
Right.
If that's not true, I mean, it isn't true. He didn't do that. He couldn't even help himself or anything. But he couldn't do anything about it. But I was angry with him, and so I was this ferocious, nasty, wicked ghost, and I drive him to kill himself.
Really?
Yeah, and I just spook him.
You don't
So it was very. I was kind of bummed out though, because the actor that played my husband is a guy who was a lawyer, who was an engineer, and he just decides, okay, I've done
I'm gonna
all
be an
that. I've got a
actor.
lot of money now. I'm going to be an actor.
Yes.
And you know, he was pretty good. He was as good
Was
as almost everybody I've ever worked with. But it pissed me off because you know how hard we've worked.
Well,
You know, people have been, I mean, I've been in the business for 50 years. Since 1959. I'm proud of my
59?
age. I'm 72 and I'm going to be
So am I.
73. I'm going to be 73 December 24th.
oh, God bless you. You look like, well, I'll be 73 in September of next year.
See, I'm older than you.
You are.
You better be
I always
good.
liked the oldest women. I've always went out all my life. I've always gone out with older women.
I always like younger. Well, I don't
Well,
know.
see,
I don't know.
when
I
I was
like
young-
whatever's there. You know, whatever's around that turns me on, I love, and I don't say no. I can't say no.
Oh,
So,
Well, you get a lot of fans.
but I don't get turned on that often. You know, so
Well.
I'm not really too bad. You know.
Now, Ray Walston, who was one of my,
Oh, he's.
you know, I love that man. He was such a talent.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, I mean, Ray, he's
Gosh,
another member.
remember when we got all chewed up with that monkey that he was working with on that show with Bill Bixby?
Yes, yes.
Oh,
And-
gosh.
And he was, whenever you saw him in the scene, he just stole the scene. He had so much presence.
Oh, remember when he played the devil in Damn
Well,
Yankees?
that's what made him,
Oh,
yeah,
he was
Broadway.
fabulous in that.
But I mean, the one that he did with Clint Eastwood, that when Lee Marvin, it was a musical almost. Well, Paint Your Wagon.
Oh my gosh.
God.
Yeah, he was wonderful and he was fun to work with too.
First time I met him was in 1985 at this studio, and I was doing a scene, and he wanted me to. He said, "You should be doing Shakespeare."
Is that what he said to you? Oh, thanks a lot.
Shakespeare. I'm from the Bronx.
Oh yeah, I have never had any desire to do any kind of Shakespeare. I really,
Really?
I don't even like to. Well, I did like Midsummer's Night Dream because if I can't find something or something's going wrong, I figure it's all these little fairies running around doing things in my life. So I kind of like that one. I guess I like it all right, but I don't know. I don't want to do it. I don't want to have to remember. I want things to be a little easier, you know.
Well, yeah, at this point, they should be. And when you work, it
Plus,
has to
I'm
be
not
like-
a Shakespearean actor. I mean, if I were a Shakespearean actor, I'd probably just love it, you know.
You would love it. Well, it's. I think it's because it's put on the English to do it, and it's not an American thing. You know, we're more Williams, Tennessee.
Yeah, which is.
Do you enjoy Tennessee Blues?
Oh yeah.
Do you have any favorite plays or?
Not that I can think of. Not that I can
You
think of
still
right
do.
now.
You have that look that Tennessee would have loved.
Yeah, you think so?
Oh, yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you know,
Very
there's
hot,
a gal
warm.
there's a gal that was in the Reavers with me. What's her name? She's got a wonderful. She's got a daughter who's real talented too. Oh shoot.
Don't think of it, and it'll come to you.
Oh yeah. Oh darn! I just can't stand it when that happens. Oh,
called-
it's on the tip of my tongue.
It's called The Youth is Leaving.
Oh.
The youth is leaving.
Anyway, she's his niece.
Tennessee's niece?
Yes.
Oh, I'm trying to remember. Oh, there is. Now I'm-
And it's like she was promised. She actually, the director had promised her the role too. He had promised almost every woman in town the role that I played, you know, in the Reavers. And every time I run into them, they carry on about it. Oh, everybody hates Mark Rydell. So
Mark Vidali, well, he was one of the moderators at the studio. Now, him and Marty Landau,
I love Joanne Linville, who was
I saw the picture, yes.
that's my sweetheart.
Yes.
That was my acting teacher.
Well, Joanne
And she got me
moderated
through lots
scenes
of
I
things.
did at the studio. I'm a big fan of Joanne's.
She's such a sweetheart.
Yeah, and she takes no prisoners. If something is not working, she'll tell
Well,
you.
she's from Stella Adler.
Right. You're definitely
Oh,
right.
I learned so much from her. I learned a lot from Luther Adler too about.
Well, the best
timing.
advice I ever got from an actor was Shelley Winters.
Oh
I
God,
was doing a scene for Shelley, and she
I
told me.
love her.
Yeah.
I
was
love
the
her.
best.
I love. She did.
Yes, she's gone.
She's gone.
Yes,
Oh.
a few years now. But she told me to sit down, John. You're acting.
What'd she say?
Sit down, John. You're acting.
Sit down.
Yeah, which was the best advice I ever got as an actor.
Yeah.
You know, I always remember that. Because when I get up, when you're doing a scene, I want to know what doesn't work, not what works. And she let me know right away. Sit down, John.
Yeah, it's better to just go and just go, give it your all,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then if you've got a good director, you can like bring it down. I don't know. You have to like
Well,
not
this was
be
in
afraid
class.
of.
This was in
Oh, in
class.
class. Okay.
You know, and so it was great advice. And she did love the studio, and God, I learned so much from her. Her and Salome Jennings. I don't know if you know Salome.
I never knew her. I never knew her, and I never saw her work either. But I loved her name.
Isn't it? And you got to hear her voice.
I loved her name.
Well, she does a lot of off Broadway theater here in town. She's always
Oh yeah, is she?
always so you'd always pick up. If you have a play, she'll do it.
Well, I remember her way back in New York. I remember hearing her name all the time.
Well, she did. The balcony,
Yeah,
she
that's
was
right.
known as the body.
Oh my goodness. Oh
Right.
my goodness.
Yeah, she studied 25 years with Lee, and she's one of the artistic directors along with
Oh, that's
Lou
exciting.
Antonio.
Oh, I liked Lou Antonio. He directed me in a few television
Yeah,
shows.
he
and stuff.
he runs.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
I just loved him.
Well, we got to get you to come
I
up to
just
see him.
loved him. He's one of my favorite directors.
Well, we'll get you to come up to see him.
And it was on a television show, but I did some work on that show that was just brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody says, "Oh, you did this, you did that," and they carry on and everything. But my little things are when I'm working with someone and it gets all buzzy and exciting, and it's like you learn something,
Right.
in the work, and Lou Antonio is one of those people.
Yeah. And when he'll direct the scene, sort of, and the things that come out of he brings out of the actors is unbelievable.
Yeah, and he doesn't like manhandle you.
No.
He doesn't look down he doesn't insult you.
Well, he's an actor.
He doesn't say you're acting. Sit down. I think that's kind of insulting, actually.
No, not really. It was.
I would have smacked her.
No. A lot of people thought that.
Nobody would smack her. I'm
But
sure
it
was
helped
all right.
me. So
Yeah.
Sometimes you got to be put in your place.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Well,
I guess so. I guess that's true. I remember I was complaining one time about I was in Hawaii and I was doing Hawaii 5-0 and Barbara Luna came by just to visit the set. And I was like kind of grumbling because I wanted to lose weight, and she said, "Well, just knock it. You should lose it. Do it." And I was, everybody says, "Oh no, you look wonderful. You don't have to lose
Right.
any." Everybody says that. Well, boy, I lost that weight.
Good for you.
But she was so mean.
But you
But I
remembered
did
it.
But I did it.
Yes.
I did it. I think I must have lost a pound that day. I ate apples or something.
Barbara Luna is someone I'd love to have on the show.
Oh, Luna. Oh, she's a character.
I'd
You
love
have to
to-
call her Luna because
Luna.
she'll get upset with that.
She
doesn't
doesn't
like to be called Barbara. No.
She just likes to be called Luna.
Luna, and I'm thinking, why would anybody want to be called Luna, like the Looney Tune,
Or the
Crazy Moon? I don't know. Listen, she's wonderful, and if she wants to be called Luna,
Call her Luna.
it's Luna.
I just saw a photo on her on Facebook. She still looks great. I mean,
Oh, she's one of those. She's
very
just
talented.
gorgeous.
Never got the credit that she.
Oh, I just saw a movie that she did. Well, I had seen it on TV. Some old movie, Ship of Fools. And she was wonderful,
Wonderful in that,
just
yes.
fantastic
Yes.
in this. And she can dance and she can sing. And oh my God, she was talented.
She
She
is
went and
talented.
married Doug McClure, and everybody just thought she was a little starlet or something, you know. But she wasn't. She was brilliant.
She really still
Really
is.
still is. I don't know whether she's working now or not.
I don't know, but well, maybe she's not still. I like the interview because I know you have stories. You said you're writing a book. Now, what is? Can you tell us a little bit about it?
It's a memoir.
Well,
You know, it's a
yes, absolutely.
memoir, and it's like when I went to Cuba and with Elaine Stritch and Steve Hill in this movie, and Gene Lyons was
Steve
in
Hill.
it. Do you remember Gene Lyons?
No, but then Steve Hill, I remember. He's a member of the actor Steve
Yeah,
Hill.
he's Steve Hill. Well, I had an affair with Che Guevara.
Ooh.
I mean, he one day during the shoot, Steve was supposed to slap me. I mean, I'm in this. It was a story about a mentally retarded girl and her brother, and the brother wants to fall in love with Elaine Stritch, and I'm in the way because I'm always in trouble because I'm like a little mentally retarded, and I'm always getting into trouble with men following me and stuff like this. So I'm in this restaurant or something, and I'm dancing around, you know, with short shorts on and making a fool of myself. And Steve comes over and he slaps me. Well, he gave me a stage slap, and then at the last minute something else happened, and he hit me so hard he knocked me out. I mean, talk about method.
Right.
I mean, I think I think you have to be a little technical. A little bit technical. You don't really hit people.
Right.
But anyway, I was down, and that night, they took me back to the hotel, and that night, they were all going to go, the whole cast was going to go out to this big party. So I came down, and they had already left, and I ran into this Cuban girl. She says, come with me, let's go upstairs. She says, don't tell anybody, because she was working on the show too, you know, as an interpreter and stuff like this. Mm. And we went up to the 15th floor of the Havana Hilton Hotel, and that's where Fidel Castro was. He was having this big party, and he was giving these speeches off of his balcony, and he called me Pobrecita Animalito de Dios, and he said, he just loved me. He threw a watch at me that I have. It was like a 1950s funky little silly watch, and that he probably, you know, during the day they were killing people. You know, and all the rich people there, I don't know what they did. I really wasn't aware of what was going on. But that night, I went off with a motorcycle with Che, and we came back to the hotel, and there's a bomb that went off in the perfume counters and stuff like that. So Fidel had called him, so he took off. But, you know, he taught me how to shoot a machine gun and everything. So, I mean, I had a really good time over there, and I was, you know, he was my first man. He was the first person who had ever made love to me.
Your first?
My very first was Che. So my books is kind of about all the affairs I've had. You know, it's not about method acting particularly.
Is it a short book or a long book?
Well, it's about 400 pages now. So 400, it's like that.
Well,
you
you
know?
had some affairs then.
Oh, I've had over 200. I've had over 200. I can't even count. And I was raped in Fiji by 4 military people. I don't know. I just, you know, I'm alive by the grace of God. I mean, I shouldn't even be here.
On that note, we could do a part 2 if you, I hope so, if you want, because we're just about running out of time. So I just want to really thank you for coming and talking, and we'll go into part 2.
You make one hell of a cup of coffee. And he's got a Chicago cup here. This coffee tastes like the Beverly Hills Hotel coffee. You really made me feel good by making me this coffee today. I swear to gosh. Thank you.
So anyway, we're going to come back with part 2. John Solari, The Method Actors Speak.